Welcome back, Patriots. Welcome back to Sons of Liberty, 1773. I'm your host, Bill Bailey. Today is January 3rd, 2024, year of our Lord. So I've got some information on how to protect yourself from somebody scamming you out of your real estate, okay? How to not get scammed as a buyer and not get scammed as a seller, because identity theft is big right now. And I watched a property very near me almost get sold without the seller knowing it. So watch to the end of this video and I will give you some great advice. You'll want to hear that. So something weird is going on with the economy, folks. We are teetering at the cusp of collapse. Now, just a few days ago, the Fed said, inflation's in check. We're going to start lowering interest rates. And the market skyrocketed, right? I mean, the Dow is up, the NASDAQ, everything just, poof. Then they reversed their decision. And it's perplexing because when they said they're going to lower rates, which I know their inflation's not in check, this is all politics. There is no sound economic policy anymore. This is about keeping the regime in power. That's what this is about. That was my initial thought until I listened to this video by Tucker Carlson just yesterday. Listen to this.
About 3 weeks ago, Jay Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, announced that it was, quote, premature to conclude with confidence that we have achieved a sufficiently restrictive stance or to speculate on when policy might ease. That's Fed speak, and in case you're not familiar with it, that means we plan to keep interest rates high. Okay. Then last week, 2 weeks later, with no warning at all, Jay Powell seemed to pivot dramatically and say almost the opposite. Actually, he said, cutting interest rates is something that, quote, begins to come into view and is clearly a topic of discussion out in the world and also a discussion for us at our meeting today. In other words, we are lowering rates. So many people who are paying attention concluded that this was political. Joe Biden is losing the race and the Fed is trying to save him. But what is even worse than that? What if it's not just Joe Biden they're trying to save, but the U.S. economy? What if the fundamentals are so weak underneath that the Fed is desperately scrambling, groping in the dark to figure out what to do? You have to think that's possible. The Fed is supposed to be stable. That's why they speak like 19th century jurists, to convey stability. But if they're changing their mind on the biggest question that they address in 2 weeks, one direction, another direction, that suggests chaos. And that's bad.
So what Tucker was saying there was we all assumed it's politics. But no, maybe it's something deeper, and they're trying to make a move to save us from the Great Depression, the greatest depression that I believe is inbound. So these are moves out of desperation, and they're not sure what to do, and they're ping-ponging back and forth. Let me share this other information that I pulled up regarding how dire our economy is right now. The NASDAQ is down nearly 4% from its high just 3 trading days ago. In other words, the index has erased $600 billion of market cap in 3 days. This also means that the NASDAQ has erased all of its gains back to December 13th. This article posted December 31st at Yahoo Finance. There's no real good end. This Wall Street bear says America is in the greatest credit bubble in human history, and it's going to pop. Further down this article, he says, a bubble ready to pop. Spitznagel believes U.S. monetary policy since the Great Recession, including artificially low interest rates and artificial liquidity in the economy, has contributed to the greatest bubble in human history, and that bubble is getting ready to pop. This article posted at Zero Hedge just today. Fed Minute pushes back on Powell's dovish pivot. Now remember, just a couple weeks ago, they said we got to leave interest rates where they are. Then they reversed course, said we're going to lower interest rates, and the market sprung right up. Now they're going back the other way in this article. So what do they want us to know? The Fed minutes appear to be far less dovish than Powell suggested. No sign of imminent rate cuts. Policymakers say their projections imply reductions would be appropriate by the end of 2024, and several suggest rates could stay at current levels for longer than they currently anticipate. So they're not lowering rates now. Inflation is going to get worse, folks. In the last 105 days, this regime has printed another $1 trillion added it to our national debt. In 105 days, they added $1 trillion. So our national debt now has surpassed $34 trillion. That means every man, woman, and child, infant, owes, just on this debt, $101,230. Think they're not shackling this nation with debt, a catastrophic debt? But it's worse. America's unfunded liabilities, folks, are over $211 trillion. That's stuff we promised to pay. Future bills that they don't have the money for yet, like future Social Security benefits, that type of stuff. The liability per citizen on the unfunded liabilities, this isn't counting the other debt I just talked about, is $629,943 per living person in America, man, woman, and child, infants included. Here's the current Dow. It's at 37,430. I believe it was really close to 38,000. All-time record high. And you can see what it's been doing here since November, since they hinted that they're going to lower rates and inflation is all wonderful. It's went up through the roof. Now it's pulling back a little, but I believe we are on the brink of the greatest correction and economic collapse this country has ever seen, that we are heading for something worse than the Great Depression. Reason I always say that, don't get me wrong, the Great Depression was terrible, but families tended to have, mom and dad tended to have a lot of kids, to work the farm. And everybody grew up learning to grow a garden and process food, It was just secondhand nature for 80% of America. That's no longer the case. So when, the food's not there, it's not going to be good. But, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm giving you my own opinion, but I try to not buy stuff when it's at its all-time high. Like I tell people, my friends that want to buy real estate, this isn't the right market to buy in. We're in a bubble. You want to wait for the crash and then come and swoop something up, get a deal on something. But some people listen to me and some people don't. Everybody do their own thing, but I've been in real estate a long time. So right now I'm going to tell you something that you need to be concerned about, okay? I got a text the other day from Zillow, right? I'm a realtor. Said so-and-so is interested. It says, I'm so-and-so, I'm interested in listing my property. Would you contact me? And it was a California number and it had his name at the beginning of an email address, okay? And I actually know who these people are because they live right down the road from me on the lake. Only met them once, but I know who they are. And they own some acreage back across the road from them. And I've showed these people a property I had listed. That's how I met them about a year ago. So I thought, cool, it'd be a good listing. I probably got some buyers, a nice piece of vacant land. Actually did. I have a couple buyers that I could sell that to. So I texted this number and said, hey, get with me. We met, and gave them some comps and stuff. And then it was maybe a few days later, a week or so, that I seen this real estate get listed by another firm. So I sent it out to a couple of clients I had. One that's kind of across the road from this property and's been wanting something to make some hiking trails on and something. I actually wanted a little bigger piece, but this would work. So he goes, well, they want a lot for it. And I go, yeah, they do. But I go, why don't we wait a week? If no one swooped it up, maybe you can, make an offer what you feel comfortable with. And he goes, yeah, let's do that. So I called the listing realtor today that listed this and said, what's up with your property? Oh, I seen it was pending already. It actually came up pending. And I wanted to see how strong the buyer was, because if it wasn't going to go through, I probably could write an offer on it. So the guy calls me back and actually went pending the day after it was listed. I just hadn't seen that until I looked today. Come to find out, it was a fraudulent listing, folks. Somebody did their research on who the sellers were, okay? They knew what to say, knew what they did apparently for a living, said all the right things, and got a hold of one of the agents at this guy's firm, and she listed it, okay? I called a neighbor, and a neighbor called another neighbor that's really close with who was supposed to be the seller, which it wasn't. It was a identity theft thing. They found out it was for sale, called the realtor, and were just ballistic. Said, "What the hell are you doing listing my property? It's what's wrong?" And the guy's an attorney, by the way, the seller. And the realtor explained everything, and they found out, this was somebody playing their identity, or saying they were them. So imagine if another realtor wrote a cash offer, which wouldn't be uncommon for this property. They go to the title company. A lot of stuff's done by the internet, folks. People don't talk. It's texting, emails. People are busy. It's just the way we do business today. So in the title companies, many times they find a notary, someone they trust. If it's going to be they got to mail the documents out of town. So imagine if they would have mailed these documents to this bogus seller, right? And he has made a false ID, a driver's license, and stuff looks legit. And he gets a notary to notarize it. And they send the package back to the title company, and the title company sends a check. Could easily happen. Not as easy as it could have, because this is, I guess, is coming more common, but this is like really close to home up in rural northern Michigan. So I called the title company because I thought, well, what the hell would happen in that scenario? Because obviously it's fraudulent. I mean, the seller's not selling it. It's not a legitimate deal, but the buyer thought it was, and they just gave up, over $100,000 of their money. They're going to want their money back. And she did say, and this is a lawyer at the title insurance company, that under that scenario, the title insurance would pay, would refund the buyer because it's a fraudulent deal. But they said they do their due diligence to make sure the people that are signing or who are signing, they have reputable notaries. But this is something for you folks to realize, even if it's a small deal, and you're the buyer, go through a title company, okay? And I will tell you that in the past, which this has never been an issue, okay? I never ask for people's driver's licenses and stuff. I leave that up to the title company because I don't want those documents, copies of them or anything in my files. I don't want to be responsible for them. I let the title company do that stuff, but I may be asking for people's driver's licenses now when I list a property. And she did say this is happening. It's mostly vacant land. That's what they target. But be on guard. I will tell you, there's this home title lock and this type of stuff. They help you through the process of fixing, being frauded out of your property. But you still got to hire an attorney and go through all the stuff. But the worst case scenario is they find these homes where the people go away for the winter. And they'll get, people that own their properties free and clear. These fraudsters will get mortgages on them. And then you got to go through the legal process of getting it remedied. It's, not good. It's nothing, pray anybody would have to go through. But the other thing they've been known to do is they cut the locks off of homes where they know the people aren't there, gone for the winter. They put new locks on. They will put it on Craigslist or something and rent the house and say they need it'll be a really good deal rent-wise. And they'll get like 6 months of rent up front. And they leave, right? They're gone, the scamsters. Then the owners come back and there's people in their home. And then it's not just so easy as get the hell out of my house. You're going to have to evict them. Could really be a nightmare. So just be on guard, okay? These internet cameras, like if you're in Florida, you can be watching your house in Florida. If you're in Florida, you can be watching your house wherever it is in the United States via the internet and a little camera. Keep watch on your house. Probably not a bad idea. And then, the worst, and the other thing is they cut the locks off the house, put their locks on, create a false identity, steal the owner's identity, and sell the house for cash. And I guess those are rare, but they've happened. But just what a nightmare, folks. And I've been in real estate since 95 or 6. And this is I've known this stuff is going on, but this was literally within a mile of my house. So, a lot of these, internet scammers and stuff that are really good, by the way. They are really good. They know what they're doing. A lot of them are out of Africa and other parts of the country. Well, now that Joe Biden has let millions of these criminals from around the world invade America, don't think this isn't going to get worse, okay? Probably even this year, starting now, because they're coming here, the thieves, thinking this is going to be easy picking. They're not used to what we got planned for them. So I would just tell you to be on guard. Watch your property. If you're a buyer, do your homework. Know that you're buying property from the actual seller. Make sure you go through a title insurance company. If you've got any concerns about what you're insured for, have the title insurance company explain it to you, such as a fraudulent seller, and know that you're protected before you part with your hard-earned cash. Okay? See, that's why you come to Sons of Liberty. You get all this free advice. But anyways, let me know what you think. I'm concerned about the economy, folks. I think we're in the cusp of disaster. And when the Fed, because they think things through, folks, they're supposed to be thinkers, you know. They think and ponder and cogitate before they say we're going to raise rates. They look at all the charts, you know, tons and tons of economic indicators. By the way, manufacturing is way down, folks, just so you know. Here I'm thinking that, you know, this is just BS politics. We all know inflation's not reined in. People are living hand to mouth, having to take second jobs just to make ends meet. And then to say, well, now it looks good, we're going to start lowering rates. And then a week later, reversing course in kind of ping-ponging back and forth. So I think they're desperate, and they're looking for they're looking for a way out of this mess to keep the economy cranking, or alive, you know, to keep it from collapsing. But let me know what you think. Hey, if you're new to this channel and you like the content, hit the subscribe button, check mark the bell to get all notifications. Like the videos, helps with the algorithm, pushes this content out to more viewers, and comment down below. I love reading your comments. So keep praying and keep prepping. We are entering the storm, folks. We've been kind of in the eye of the storm, and now we're going back into the storm, and it is going to be a doozy. May God continue to bless our great country. May the good Lord keep you and yours safe. Until next time, Sons of Liberty out. See you guys.